laundering and mass looting at the state-owned water supply company in KwaZulu-Natal. The Commission is hearing about a list of questionable transactions allegedly linked to former President Jacob Zuma and former Mhlathuze Water Board and SAA Chairperson Dudu Myeni. Well, for more on this story, I'm joined in studio by my colleague Mbalenhle Mthethwa, who's been covering the story. Thanks very much, Mbalenhle, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's an absolutely scandalous story, testimony that's coming from Mr. X. Obviously, it still needs to be tested, but just give us an idea of what he's saying.
Yes, it is quite explosive, listening to the number and the brazenness with how these interactions were actually made and how they were justified and so on. We understand that he was approached by an Mhlathuze employee yesterday, given when he was giving his testimony for the first time. He said he was approached by an Myeni who came to him and said that there were opportunities, there was money that they needed to siphon out of Mhlathuze Water, and they needed someone who was trustworthy and someone they could trust with a bank account to obviously, receive the money and then transfer it into designated accounts that he would then be instructed to do so. And for the bulk of the morning, we heard evidence relating to all of those contracts, and he was being asked as to whether, he knew these accounts that he was actually transferring the monies to, and he kept on telling the Commission that no, all of these instructions were essentially made on instruction, and Majola is the one who instructed me to make these transactions, to withdraw money, and so on and so forth. We understand that a stocks company has also come up, Stefanuti has also come up, and we understand that this was not for any services rendered, it was not for any work that has been done. And we also heard about other big names that we've heard at this very Commission before. We've heard about Dudu Myeni's involvement in this money laundering scheme.
Yeah, let's move to that now. Very interesting testimony that he was giving about his relationship with Dudu Myeni, somebody that he's known for years and so on. He also talked about Mhlathuze Myeni being the son of Dudu Myeni and so on. So he knows them as a family. But he was talking about how he goes into her offices and leaves money there for her and then contacts her later to say the money's there. Just tell us more about that.
Yes, so from his evidence, you get the sense that they've had a long-standing relationship. Yesterday, he spoke about how they'd even started attending events at each other's households, and he was just giving the Commission background to their relationship. And today he spoke about how they met at one of these small business incubation hubs, where he was then approached by Dudu Myeni to go into business with him. And I think that's when the relationship grew and started. And we see the relationship growing to the point that, he is able to go into Dudu Myeni's home unannounced, obviously, to do as he pleases, obviously. But we understand that from Mhlathuze Myeni's testimony yesterday that his account, Isibonelo Construction, received 3 payments from Talente's premier attraction 1016, which were in excess of 3 million rand. We understand that within days of receiving the first tranche, which was 1 million rand in October 2015, he received a phone call from Dudu Myeni instructing him to deliver the money in cash, the 1 million rand in cash, to her home. Now, he's explained to the Commission that Dudu Myeni at the time was living in multiple homes, and he had access to those homes. He would go into the office and hide the money there, and call Dudu Myeni much later to inform her of where he had hidden the money. And he says that he did that because he wanted to save himself time and because he didn't want someone else laying their hands on the money. But what's interesting about Mr. X's testimony is the fact that we heard Mhlathuze Myeni's testimony yesterday, where he claimed that the 3 million rand that was paid into Isabelo Construction was for services rendered, even though he couldn't quite remember what exactly it was, but he is certain that it was for services rendered. We understand that he also received 2 million rand from VNA without a contract. So it seems as though Mhlathuze Myeni was not a credible witness, given that, we can assume, or it seems, given the evidence that is available to the Commission, that he was not a credible witness, given that, this witness has refuted all these allegations and has come up with proof for all the allegations, because we do understand that the Commission is reading from statements, from bank statements.
Mbalenhle, we're going to leave it there, but obviously he's still continuing to give his testimony. My colleague there, Mbalenhle Mthethwa, reporting on the state capture inquiry. The EFF has taken